Okay, all right. Good morning, CSL Tacoma. I'm Rev.Frances, and I want to introduce everybody. We've got Jim Valley as our soloist today, Terry O'Hara on piano, and on platform with me is Matthew Breck, who's going to be delivering our meditation and reflection, and then Reverend Drew Ebersole and Reverend Matthew and I are going to induct the new members. And, oh, yes, it's going to be very exciting. And then there's lots of fun and games planned for after the service and cake. So that's, and mixed nuts for those of you who don't eat cake. Anyway, it's going to be fun. And we have Pam Migliosi as our practitioner, and holding consciousness for this service is our lead practitioner, Mona Williams. So we're so delighted to have you here to welcome. There's 11 people that are coming in. I don't think we have all of them here today, but no matter, we're going to celebrate all the same. So let's get started with our opening song, Coming Home with Jim Valley.
You got me singing in the truck. It's gonna take a whole lot of luck to get back on the road where we both belong. Now coming from the shadow, dark side of the moon, daylight she break on soon, sunlight shining bright on my face, sends out a wish to the whole human race. Love ye one another, we are sisters, we are brothers, on this promised road, magical land. Taking years, too many tears, learning how to drop these fears. Help on high, we are coming home on time. Come on, Terry. Leaning back and staring up into the sky, and sometimes it seems that I can fly, and the love in my heart could embrace this whole world. Now and then I find a friend who reflects a life within and points the way when I can't find my own. Coming from the shadow, dark side of the moon, daylight she break on soon, sunlight shining bright on my face, sends out a wish to the whole human race. Love ye one another, we are sisters, we are brothers, on this promised road, magical land. Taking years, too many tears, learning hard to drop these fears. Help on high, we are coming home on time. We're coming home on time. Coming home. Love ye one another. Coming home. Love ye one another. Coming home. Love ye one another. Now coming home on time. Coming home on time. Yes, thank you, thank you.
So we're going to induct our new members right now, and we're so excited to have you join our center. So I'm going to read the names of our new members. I don't think everybody's here, but for those of you who are here, if you'd come and stand right in front of this little substage. So Justin Arbuthnot, Darlene Green, come on down. Eiley Jordan. Yeah. Nick Migliosi. Pam Migliosi. Ty Minkler. Gail Petersdorf. Steve Potts, Linda Smith, and Margie Tuck. So they are not here. So if you just stay here while we do this little ceremony for you, we'd appreciate you not running away. And knowing that we all love you here, so there's nothing to be shy about. Although 50% of America is shy. So probably some of you are. Anyway, all right. So becoming a member means that you've chosen the Center for Spiritual Living-Tacoma as your spiritual home, a place to grow and nurture yourself and others. And we invite you to come walk your path, companioned by others doing the same. So we are affiliated with Centers for Spiritual Living, a global community comprised of more than 400 spiritual communities, teaching chapters, study groups, and other ministries in 30 countries. And our home office is located in Golden, Colorado. We teach the science of mind philosophy that brings religion, science, and philosophy together and offers spiritual tools to transform lives and make the world a better place. So membership is a promise we make to ourselves and to others to awaken spirit, nurture hope, and inspire action. So we have a little ceremony represented by these 5 candles, and it's why become a member. So the first is we usually join because we need that inspiration, don't we, to make it through the week. So we get involved because we want inspiration and motivation. So we're going to light the first candle. Members support a spiritual community that provides something new and amazing to inspire growth and transformation. We provide certified spiritual classes and workshops and retreats, inspiring monthly themes supported by the Science of Mind magazine, and also weekly meditation practice that Drew is offering every Thursday night, and other opportunities to deepen spiritually. And so the second aspect is...
Number 2. Is my mic on? Yes? Okay, excellent. Members have a voice. This is very important to remember, that you are shaping the spiritual community and the work of the shared ministries we carry out inside and outside these doors. Members vote and participate in the democratic process that elects leaders and steers the priorities of the church, so your voice matters. Members are eligible to serve as delegates, so you can go to conferences and serve as a delegate in our spiritual living community gatherings, and hold a large responsibility to guide the institution of our faith traditions. Members could hold leadership positions as well. So not only can you learn and grow here, but you can help lead the way for our growth of our center. So once you're a member, you complete foundations, you can serve on the board of trustees or any other volunteer opportunities that you wish to.
Great. So number 3 candle is stewardship and sharing gifts of time, talent, and financial support. And I think nearly all of you are doing something already, which is amazing to me. So members really take on the legacy of stewardship for this center. We take pride in being connected in an important way to the rich history of our faith. We understand our support of this community is an expression of care for future generations, and membership is a public affirmation of what we value and what we do in the world. So we also, each of our members makes usually an annual pledge of financial support to CSL, which can be amended at any time. And all of our members have unique wisdom and gifts to share as volunteers, leaders, workshop presenters, board members, and practitioners.
Number 4, spiritual support. So you're making an investment in the church and leadership and everything, but there's also an investment in you. And so the spiritual support for you is you have the privilege of receiving rites of passage. So at the church officiated by one of the ministers, such events include free facility space for weddings, child dedications, and memorial services, which is good to know. Members receive complimentary subscription to the...
We marry you and bury you. What can I say?
And everything in between. That's really well said. So yeah, you have the Spiritual Center for Living Science of Mind magazine. You have a free subscription online and or printed version, so please collect that. And members receive benefit of spiritual counseling and prayer. So not only can you come back and get prayer after services, but you're eligible for a quarterly tune-up and a 15-minute session with one of our incredible gifted practitioners. And let me tell you something, prayer works.
Yeah, thank you. So number 5 is a shared consciousness of oneness. Members join a solid 100-year-strong consciousness of oneness. And this is supported by the CSL World Ministry of Prayer, healing public statements, public conferences, retreats, and networking. And members have the joy of being with people all over the world who share a similar worldview and belief system. And you can belong without losing your uniqueness. And we love your uniqueness, believe me. So at this time, I want Matthew to lead the next portion.
And the gifts, are we going to give the
Yes,
gifts
and
out?
then we each we have a gift for you.
Okay, everybody, I invite you. We're going to do something really beautiful to hold these people up. I invite you to stand if you can. And let's go ahead and do this with our arms. We're going to really embrace these new beautiful souls. And I want to do something where I'm going to tell you the words, and then we're all going to do it together, okay? The first part is, we praise you. We raise you up. And we support you in unconditional love. Welcome.
As Matthew gets ready, is there anything else you're going to read right now? No. Okay. We're going to hand out these gifts, but we wanted to invite Ginger up to explain about what these are and the significance of them, and then Matthew will hand them out.
Sure.
Is that right?
Yeah, you got it.
So we have a new member gift for you, and it's not any gift. These beautiful pictures that are here are extremely symbolic and from the heart. A young woman from Puyallup named Maddie has created those from scratch. She's only 17. Art is her destiny. We've commissioned this from her, and you will notice that the spiral in the background is the nature's perfect symbol of evolution and journey. And the hands hold the CSL symbol, which is to evolve. And then there are special words that evoke all of those in the background. Love, prosper, all of these words are giving to you to send you into your journey. And this young lady, this young artist, this is from her heart. It's original.
So, you guys get to pick which one you want out of the basket. You get to take the one that resonates with you.
They're going to come to you.
Yes, all the words are different, so you get to pick the one that that speaks to you the most?
Okay, all right.
So glad to have you here. Welcome. We love you, and you'll get to know me more.
Minister, can you all be in on the photograph? Step up on the second level and kind of come a little bit closer together, not too close, but close enough. Don't breathe on each other. Can you just move in closer, yeah. That way a little bit. When you peek through, everybody peek through. And on the count of three, I'm gonna take the picture. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm stopping now. Thank you.
Thank you very much for
Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful way to start this day. My heart is full, and I know I can say the same thing for my sweetie. Thank you, Nick. So grateful to be here on this beautiful day. Let's just come together. Let's embrace the love that is in this room. The music that was played today and the words that were sung touched my heart so deeply. Coming home. And this spiritual center is our new home. I am so grateful for the friendship and the love and the communion that is shared with us. I absolutely know that God is present in my life every moment of every day. The love and the power, the peace of God is with me right here, right now, at this very moment. And as I know this to be true for myself, I know this to be true for everyone that is present here today. We are an emanation of the divine, each of us in our own very special way. We are love, we are peace, we are power, we are understanding. And this is a beautiful day. Spring is definitely in the air. And I know that the music that is played today resonates with each of us. And I know that the words that are spoken by our beloved Rev.Frances touches us in her own unique way and resonates with us. and I am so grateful. I thank the beautiful board for putting together this ceremony. I thank Reverend Matt, Reverend Drew, Rev.Frances, the musicians, and welcome each new member into this beautiful new spiritual home. And so, let this service unfold perfectly. I now declare that all is good, all is perfect, all is God. And I release this prayer humbly and gratefully into the law of mind, knowing that it is already done, and so it is.
Good morning. So nice to see so many people here. We love all of you so much. Wonderful. I have a very special meditation that I want to do with you this morning. Thank you for that prayer, by the way. That was amazing. This whole morning has been awesome. So let's go into meditation. I want to invite you to place your feet flat on Mother Earth. Allow your energy to connect with life itself. Let's put everything aside. Let's allow our arms to rest. And let's take a deep collective breath together. And let it go. And another breath together. And let's arrive here, right now. Feeling that presence, the wonderful presence that feeds our soul, that inspires us, that brings the spark of life into our very being. And in this quiet place this morning, I want to read what Ernest Holmes wrote about what our philosophy believes. So I just invite you to listen, to relax, and let these words make their way into your heart and to resonate. Here we go. We believe in God, the living Spirit, Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowing of God. We believe in the individualization of the Spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one Spirit. We believe in the eternality and the immortality and the continuity of the individual soul, forever and ever expanding. We believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. We believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete freedom from all discord of any nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. We believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. We believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. We believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. We believe in the healing of the sick and the control of conditions through the power of this mind. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny. For we understand that the life of all is God. Just take a deep breath and allow those beautiful words to resonate, to speak to your soul. And this week I invite you to let those words guide you in your actions, your interactions with others. And I invite you to see the world through fresh eyes and to notice what changes. Notice how it feels. So taking a deep breath together, I'm knowing that you are restored, you are renewed, you are held in your highest and your best, and all is well. Coming back to the room, and so it is.
Sky above, ask the earth below, where do your gentle waters flow? The earth replied, deep inside, a caring heart where love abides. And the sea goes on forever. The mountain tree asks the bird in flight, where do your children sleep tonight? Sang the bird in song so fair, they'll sleep in dreams beyond compare. And kindness goes on forever. Mountain tree asks the bird in flight, where do your children sleep tonight? Sang the bird in the song so fair, they'll sleep in dreams beyond compare. Kindness goes on forever. And when they wake with the dawn, they'll bathe the world in heaven's song. Love the place where they belong, heaven's song. The sky above asks the earth below, where do your gentle waters flow? Earth replied, deep inside, a caring heart where love abides. The sea goes on forever, forever.
Thank you so much, Jim. That was great. I want to, just before I get started here, have the Board of Trustees, Stan and Susie Matthews. They all planned that beautiful induction ceremony. I think it's one of the prettiest ones we've ever had. Stand up, everybody. Let's be acknowledged. Susie, Matthews, I know you're not on the board, but you should be. All right. Really, it shows when many minds and many hands are at work, you get good products, right? Wonderful events. So thank you again. So today's message is called I Love It Here. I love it here. Realigning the heart. And I love it here is a metaphor for happiness and contentment. When you look at your life over this past week, do you love how you feel? And if you don't, then it may be time to realign your heart. This has been a really rich, heart-aligned week for me. On Tuesday night, I went to the Tacoma History Museum for the remembrance event of the internment of the Japanese in Tacoma in 1942. And prior to that, in the early part of the 20th century, the Japanese immigrants who owned businesses all over Tacoma had to leave because the city council passed a law that they could not own a business. And on Tuesday, a playwright was available to discuss the film of her work about the impact of the removal of the Japanese American citizens from their homes and businesses and being transported to concentration camps, where they remained for several years. And it was the story of the impact on a teenage girl and her family. And at the end of the film, the author of the play stood up to answer questions. And she said, could this happen again here? And, you know, we've seen 10 African Americans gunned down in a supermarket in Buffalo, a Taiwanese church attacked by a Chinese national, reminding us of the string of tragic racial and cultural incidents that have happened this past year. Can African Americans and Asians and other people of color and anyone labeled other say about Tacoma, I love it here? Day before yesterday, my son, who's here, walked to the Safeway to pick up some groceries and was waiting for a friend to pick him up for lunch. And he was standing on the curb just waiting when a police officer drove up and said, are you lost? And he replied, well, no, I'm waiting for a friend to pick me up. And then my son said to the officer, are you okay? And the officer said, let me see your ID. And my son knew that it's not required by law to show your ID if you're just walking down the street or standing in front of Safeway. And he said, I'm sure the new police chief would be interested to know this. What's your badge number? And so the officer became silent. And then at that moment, his friend Jamal, an African-American, picked him up. Actually, he was British. Picked him up, and they were driving to the lobster shop on Ruston Way. And you know that officer followed them? So Dan said, well, I live in the United States of America, and I should not be stopped for standing in front of a grocery store waiting for a ride. So I was very proud of my son's defense of civil liberties. We need to do that more often. Yeah. And I thought of that question the filmmaker asked, could it happen again here? And I said to my friend recently, a couple of days ago, I said, how can we regain our moral compass? And I posed that to, I went to visit Stan and Linda yesterday, and Linda said, you know, we're so immersed in violent news and culture, and even video games that kids start playing when they're about 3 years old, shooting things down. And I remember reading a treatise on the Nazis that in 1935, it was a researcher who looked at children's games from the mid-30s in Germany, and they were playing these horrendous, violent games. And so are we. So yes, I think it could happen again here if we're not vigilant and use our voices to speak up on behalf of human rights. So there's so many. When I dropped over here with these candles, I dropped over yesterday afternoon, and then Ginger showed up, and it was. I guess I could feel the love that had been put into the room here. Everything was in order. There were cakes there, and Ginger was putting together the beautiful gifts that you were given from the artist. And I thought, oh, I love it here. It's everyone's pulled together to do this event. And there are so many good things that we can be doing that could open our hearts, and care and affirmation were evident. And then I met with a couple that they continue to be members of this church, but they live in Montana. And a lot of people never leave us. They may move to Mexico, but they're still members of the church. Or they move to Montana, or I just got a call from, you remember Jerry Crippen. She's in New Mexico. She wants to come back. Anyway, they never want to leave. So what causes humans to align with love? Bell Hooks says abuse and neglect negate love, and care and affirmation, which is the opposite of abuse, is the foundation of love. And so she writes, to truly love, we have to learn to mix various ingredients: care, affection, recognition, respect, commitment, and trust, as well as honest and open communication. So I thought all these attributes were expressed by the team that put all of this together today. And yesterday morning, I had a Sister Cities breakfast with the Moroccan Sister City. Tacoma has 15 sister cities, and I'm on 2 of them. And I'm also vice president. I've been president. I've been on the international board. I love sister cities because it's an opportunity to make peace, one person at a time, and be a diplomat for peace in the world. So we had a meeting. At the meeting, we had diminished to practically no committee members. And so we had, in 2016, opened our home to a Moroccan student from our sister city who was supposed to come for 2 weeks, and he stayed 2 years in our house. And it was a very interesting acculturation experience for me, because I got to learn about the Muslim faith. And he was a very faith-filled young man. I mean, they pray 6 times a day, and it's just beautiful. The prayers are sung. And so we would experience that in our house. And so I invited him to come see me. He's made his home in Tacoma. And he came over about a week ago, and I said, you know, we brought you here, and we want you to give back to Sister Cities now and join our committee and help us find a project we can do between Tacoma and El Jadida, Morocco. And he said, well, instead of just giving things away, giving money to things, he said, why don't you support something where someone's making something or creating a product, and you can enhance their economic prosperity and at the same time benefit by bringing a product to Tacoma. And I thought that was a great idea, and I said, well, what would you recommend? And he said, well, we've got this healing seaweed that we get in El Jadida, and he said, you just put it on any wound and it immediately heals it. And he said, we've also got this oil that is so healing and fabulous. It's good for skin care and hair conditioner. We've got that. Or we've got almonds or olives or olive oil. There's lots of things that you could look at. He said, I've got to do some research. He was going to El Jadida next week. So he came to our meeting, and at the meeting was his high school teacher from El Jadida, whose name is Mujaib Mifdal, and his brother Mohammed, who lives in a neighboring town, who was city council member in that town. And so one of the projects we had supported were these women that would knit these gorgeous scarves, and it was a free trade co-op run by women. And he said, sadly, they went out of business during COVID. So you can't support that anymore. So we're looking for a new project. But anyway, we all got to, I was really proud because he was almost like a son to me. Because my son wasn't around when he was 17, and Amin Galoub was. And so it's kind of fun watching someone grow up. He was just a kid when he stayed with us, and now is all grown up, ready to do some wonderful work in the world. So everybody, this committee that was dead, suddenly came to life, and they were all excited about this economic development project, and also planning a trip to go to a sacred music festival in Morocco with the Sufi, music and prayer. It's just a phenomenal thing. So we're planning a trip in 23, and it will involve going to this and seeing film sites and visiting government officials in El Jadida. So anyway, we felt really heart aligned when we got done with that meeting. And that's where we all should be most of the time. How do we know if our heart's aligned? How do we know that? Well, clearly something's amiss if there's something you want to experience, be, or do, or have, which a thought that has been installed in you by the source of all life, by God, if it hasn't happened. And you will know if that isn't happening, then you're a little out of alignment. Or said another way, we've drifted off course. So I want to share a sailing analogy with you. Think for a moment about how those sailing ships of the 19th century were designed. They were designed for two purposes. One, to sail very fast, and secondly, to stay on course. And so to support these two important goals, they had three different kinds of sails. The first ones were those big, gallant sails that were large and created to catch the full power of the wind. And then above them are those smaller little sails called royal sails that catch the higher breezes. And then above those are these tiny little sails that are called sky sails. And they are made to catch any tiny little breeze that exists just to keep the ship on course. So although they couldn't deliver enough thrust to make it very far, they kept the vessel on track. So it's the sky sails that often saved the day when the winds went away. So I want us to look this morning about how we can catch ourselves when we're starting to get off course. And then by making a course correction using our sky sails, okay? So catching ourselves before we drift too far away. How do you know when you've drifted off course? How do you know when you're out of alignment with Source or God or your spiritual purpose in life? How do you know that? What's the bottom line of how to tell? Well, when we're in alignment with Source, regardless of what we may or may not be going on in our world, we feel good. We feel good. And it may not be a yahoo, yippee, jump up and down kind of feeling, but nevertheless, we feel content, at peace, settled in, anchored, strong, secure. And you know what I'm talking about. You've been there. So have you ever heard the analogy of rumble strips? I went to Gig Harbor to see Stan and Linda yesterday, and they have these huge rumble strips on that bridge. You know, they're about this wide. And so if you could veer even a couple of inches off your lane, they make the most horrible noise you've ever heard. A tactile vibration, an audible rumbling that's transmitted. So by you, to let you know you're not in the lane, right? You better get out. So not feeling good is our rumble strip. That's our rumble strip, to let us know that we're out of alignment. And it indicates we've drifted and we're about to get into some trouble if we keep going this way. So the first and important way to ensure that we're aligned with our source is to notice how we're feeling. And if we're not feeling good, we're out of alignment. And once we notice it's time for us to make sure our sky sails are hoisted, Wow, what a bunch of metaphors today. Sky sails and rumble strips. So a little boy had climbed onto a really big horse with no physical assistance, no parent, no ladder, and the horse was waiting patiently as he climbed and slipped and climbed and slipped and climbed and slipped, and finally he made it, and he just wrapped his arms around the horse's neck and loved on it. And the horse had waited so patiently. What a beautiful metaphor for spirit awaiting for our realization of it. And in our realization, we either align or realign with it. Ernest Holmes said, we have to first come to realize that God isn't in some far-off place, but it's inward, intimate presence available to us, closer than our very breath. And it can't be separated from us. But so often we think we're separated from God. And always, in all ways, the source of all creation, of all of life, invites you and stands ready to express as you, but you have to align. Which reminds me of a term that's the opposite of paranoia. It's pronoia. Pronoia. Believing the universe is conspiring for our good. So if you put it into New Thought language, we might say it means we know at the core of our being that we embody source. So we embody this concept that there's divine intelligence and a divine love that is conspiring to bring about good in our life. So we are surrounded by this infinite possibility at all times. It's goodness, it's life, it's reason, and it expresses through us. Therefore, we should have faith in it, in its ability to do the things that we need to have done. And that's why we set a sky sail. We have faith in this infinite possibility. And pronoia is an antidote for paranoia. Let's realize, he says, Rob Bresney, in this book called Pronoia is an Antidote for Paranoia, says, let us release the cult of doom and gloom and embrace the cause of zoom and boom. I like that. So let's laugh at the foolishness of evil and hate as we summon the brilliance to praise and create. So no matter how upside down it may appear, let's have no fear, because we know this big secret that all of creation is conspiring to show us its blessings. So just as that beautiful horse waited patiently for that little boy to climb on board, so does the universe wait patiently for us, because it loves us. It wants us to climb on board. It wants us to realign. It wants to set our sky sails and move in the direction of our divinely inspired dreams. Emerson said, never was there a cosmic famine. The finite alone has wrought and suffered. The infinite lies stretched in smiling repose. So no matter what storm is going on, there's always something hidden in our inner being that has never been violated. And that loving energy conspires for us to do good. That's the horse just waiting for us to jump on and ride. Now, unlike the horse, perhaps we needed that pat of assurance. The universe doesn't need any pat of assurance. So how do we set these sky sails which keep us aligned? A place where we can affirm, I love it here, is sort of the way to judge. So if you realize you're so loved and so supported by the universe and it conspires for your good, start looking for evidence of that. Sharon Salzberg, Buddhist meditation teacher, writes about going to the Walter Reed Army Hospital to do an afternoon of teaching meditation for the nursing staff. And just before the class, she takes a tour. And it was very intense because at that time, wounded soldiers, anxious parents, children visiting fathers, partners going into patients' rooms in all kinds of states. And at the end of the tour, Sharon's friend turns to her and said, you know, the nurses who can stay here and keep on serving are not the ones that get lost in sorrow. The nurses who can stay here are the ones who can connect to the resilience of the human spirit. How do we come back to that? How do we come back to the resiliency of the human spirit? I often think that the most important step is realizing that we need to. We don't want to be broken. And we often seem not to want to focus on our own healing or happiness. It seems selfish, but it's so necessary. I recently spoke with a woman whose foreign-born husband had been verbally abusive, and saying she was made only, created only to cook and clean houses. And so it's her spiritual practice that makes her resilient and not able to absorb that message that belittles her self-esteem. So our own happiness and healing are what remind us of change and possibility and form our resiliency. So when the Buddha says hatred will never cease hatred, then Martin Luther King says somebody must have sense enough and morality enough to cut off the chain of hate and the chain of evil in the universe, and you do that by love. I love it here should be the way you assess where you are at any point in your life. And it has to do with where looking at your own life and saying, do I love it here? Do I love my life right here and right now? Do I love this center? Do I love going to that restaurant? Or whatever it is, it's a great way to see if you're really aligned with your heart. I tend to know that my heart's wisdom is really the best wisdom. It's never led me to make a bad choice. And while I haven't used this technique in every incident or instance, I've regretted the times that I haven't done that when I've made a decision. So once we learn this power of resistance from the heart, we can create of resilience from the heart. We can create it in our families, in our everyday lives, and apply it just everywhere we go, in everything we do. So in this time of extremes, the resilience we develop as individuals is so important. I listened to Michael Beckwith's Easter sermon, and he stood up and he said, "We are cosmic beings." And he said, so why do we get so upset with the 6 o'clock news? Anyway, I love that. Because we're not using our ability to transform through our own minds and hearts. So the time is now. I invite you to cultivate your power to thrive, to love it here, to love it here. And this is my hope for you, to love it here always. God bless you all. Where's my musician? Okay. So we're going to hear, what are we going to hear? Love is the way, the perfect antidote. Yeah.
So a few years ago, Frances said, Jim, why don't you take some Rumi poems and see if you can set them to music. So this is one of them. This is called Love is the Way. And there's a part that maybe if you felt like singing, you could sing with me, but it starts like this. daughters, and she shines bright inside us. This is the part. Visible, invisible, as we trust or lose trust or feel it start to grow again. You try that with me? Visible, visible, invisible, as we trust or lose trust or feel it start to grow again. So in your light, I learn how to love. In your beauty, how to make poems dance inside my chest where no one sees you, but sometimes I do, and that light becomes this art. We're gonna start again. Love is the way messengers from the mystery tell us things, all kinds of things. Love is the mother. We are her sons and daughters, and she shines bright inside us. Here it comes. Visible, invisible, as we trust or lose trust or feel it start to grow again. One time. Visible, invisible, as we trust or lose trust or feel it start to grow again. Love is the way messengers from the mystery. Love is the way messengers. They said, love is the way. Thank you. Thank you, Ruby.
So it's time for our offering, and as the ushers come forward, we like to say the blessing that's in your program. So together we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is. So there's some announcements in your program. The things that are happening this month. I'm going to go real fast because we got a celebration to do. One is the Unconditional Love and Forgiveness Workshop Matthew and I are doing June 11th. You can write a check today. You can go online and register, but we'd love to have you join that work. That's really the profound spiritual work we do. I think forgiveness is kind of the key. So it's going to be here, and we're also going to have it as a hybrid, so it will be broadcast online. Then on the 25th, we have Darlene Green, one of our new members. She's the author of 3 wonderful books that you will not want to miss reading. And she's doing a workshop on Love is the Beacon. And that will be from 9:30 to 12:30, 9 to 12:30. 9 to 12:30. And you can register that. It just went online, so you can register there for that. Then on Sunday the 26th, we have Anton Mizrak and Laura Berryhill here in person doing message and music on myths. And each of the myths they're going to tell are transformative stories. And then their music is absolutely gorgeous. So he's been coming here over the last 20 years off and on, and he said they were finally getting to make a tour of the Northwest after COVID. So did I have an opening? I said, well, I'll make an opening for you. So that's happening on the last Sunday in June. Now, the first Sunday in June is going to be a very special Sunday. That's the 5th. And we have instituted potluck. So bring a dish after this service, or actually bring it before the service and put it downstairs in the refrigerator. No. And we are going to be Erik's mom. It's her birthday, so we're going to be celebrating her birthday on that day as well. So just mark your calendars for that. So I want to thank Mona for holding consciousness for this service. And I think those are the announcements. We're going to hear a song from Jim, and we want you to sing along because we want you to be forever young. I love it here, being forever young, you can say. So forever young. Words are in your program.
God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. And may you stay forever young, forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always see the light and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and be strong. And may you stay forever young, forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young. Hands always be busy. May your feet always be swift. And may you have a strong foundation when these winds of change shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung. May you stay young, forever young, forever young, and may you stay forever young, forever young, forever young, may you stay forever young. Forever young.
How beautiful. Thank you so much. I love it here. Thank you, Rev.Frances, for your beautiful words. Thank you all for being here. And let us just go together and just end this service by blessing this beautiful day, knowing that all is well, knowing that God just leads us through this week, that we are at peace, and we have a voice, and we know that goodness and love and mercy and inclusion, let us know that these things will be foremost in our world. And let us just know that this will be a good week. And again, I am so blessed and so grateful to be a part of this beautiful community. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rev.Frances. Thank you to our beautiful board, to all the volunteers, to the beautiful music that was played today. And let us just say, this is good, for this is all God. And I let it go and I let it be. And let's just say in unison, and so it is.
Ginger, are you ready to give instructions on what is coming next?
Let's hear it one more time for our new members. Welcome.
Absolutely. Yay.
In honor of our new members, and actually, we have cake and mixed nuts. And so we are ready to serve you cake and mixed nuts. So please help yourself and mix, in about 10-15 minutes after you have cake, and we have something special for you. You know, it takes about 165 hours to make a friend. And it takes, so we thought we'd short circuit that today. Think about, in about 15 minutes, we're gonna have something for you to think about. There's not gonna be any stage or anything. You don't have to get up on stage, but I would like you to think about if you were forced today to get a tattoo. You had to go to the tattoo shop today. What kind of tattoo would you get? And we're going to share that with each other, one-on-one. George, if you went to a tattoo shop today, what would you get?
Harmony King.
Just don't tell us where, okay? So,
Well, you know,
oh no, here we go.
Harmony King.
there's only three things in the world that really matter. And it's airplanes, whiskey, and women. Nothing else.
Harmony King.
Anyway, so go have some cake and coffee, and then we'll just gather in a few minutes and talk about our tattoos.
And Matthew, were you going to help move the chairs this way? Yeah. Okay.